Welcome into the Titans today. I am your host, Brett Alper. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about some wide receivers in the NFL draft and one specific wide receiver that could be going to the Tennessee Titans. And it's a little reunion if they draft Cam Ward. But first, we're just 16 days away from the NFL draft. That's 2 weeks and 2 days. Can you believe it? It's almost here. They're going to be calling that number 1 overall pick, and it's going to be a Tennessee Titan. So for all the Titans coverage leading up to the NFL draft, hit that big red sub button. We're going to be giving you videos all up. 16 days away. We're getting to it, so make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/Titans today. Okay, so earlier this morning, Adam Schefter, it was a Schefty bomb. He tweeted this out. Washington State wide receiver Kyle Williams is visiting today with the Tennessee Titans. Now let's make this note. These are two big notes. Williams was a former teammate with Cam Ward, who was tracking to be Tennessee's number 1 overall pick. Tennessee's offensive coordinator, Nick Holz, was also Williams' OC at UNLV. Now Williams could be in play to team up again with Ward and Holz. And I just want to say this one thing. A couple weeks ago, or it might have been a week or two ago, I made a mock draft, and round 5, Kyle Williams. This is why you subscribe to the channel, because I called this. I called it right away in my mock draft, and now he's visiting. So he could be a Tennessee Titan. I guess correctly, maybe. But going back to it, we all know that the Titans need a wide receiver. I was waiting for a big move in free agency, and the big move, it was Van Jefferson. Big one. I mean, this is big. This is huge. You need a wide receiver going into this draft. We look at the wide receiver depth chart. Got Calvin Ridley, great wide receiver. Van Jefferson and Treylon Burks. We don't know even how healthy Treylon Burks is going to be. It's questionable. He's calling a bust now. Everybody's saying he's a bust. You replaced A.J. Brown with him, and now you're going to need a wide receiver to replace him. So let's talk about Kyle Williams. I really liked him. I watched his tape, and he's jumping up draft boards. 5'10", 70 catches, almost 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. This guy is a great athlete, and you can see it with his relative athletic score. I mean, look at those numbers. Look at his 40-yard dash, his 20-yard split. He is one hell of an athlete. There's one thing that we're going to talk about later is his size. I mean, I'm pretty much the same height as him, and I weigh more than him, so that is one questionable aspect about Kyle Williams. But in his stats throughout his last 4 years, I mean, they've just been getting better and better. When he was at UNLV, 9 games played, 10 games played. But then you bump up to 2023, 2024, and he's just played every game. And this year, just showing out. 70 receptions, almost 1,200 yards, 17.1 yards per catch, only 5 drops. That's not a lot. I know it seems like a big number. It's not a lot. Now, and the Titans specifically, they need a slot receiver. You need someone to complement Calvin Ridley. If you can go across the middle on those little drag routes, that's your guy, Kyle Williams. Then it gives you that opportunity to go deep. You don't really need a huge deep threat when you already have Calvin Ridley. And I think Williams would be perfect. I mean, he already has chemistry with Cam Ward. He's at Washington State. I can already hear it in my head now. Ward to Williams, touchdown, Tennessee. I have a new play-by-play announcer for radio, by the way. But also, Nick Holz was his offensive coordinator in 2022. So that is 2 connections with Kyle Williams that it would just fit right in with Tennessee, especially with, I'm calling it a guarantee now, with Cam Ward being the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans in 2025. Now let's talk about some of the positives of Kyle Williams. He's got speed. This man, you saw his 40 time. He's quick. He can create separation, very quick off the ball, and an amazing route runner. This man can run pretty much any route you give to him, and he's going to be speedy, create that separation off the ball. And if you throw a dot to him, he's going to catch it. But with all the positives, there are also the negatives. His size. He's 5'10". I'm 5'10". And when you have that size, your catch radius goes down. He's not going to go up and grab it all the way up here. And when you're that size, you're not very strong. You can't really block. So screens, you want to throw it to Okonkwo, and you got a little screen, or you want to throw a little route to Tony Pollard, you're not going to get much blocking from Kyle Williams. He's also improved with his PFF grades. I mean, you can see it here. It is receiving grade 82.1. The drop rate, 6.7%. That's just about average. But the one thing that looks, and it's out of here, is the grade versus man coverage, 89.9, and a contested catch rate. He can catch in with a guy right on him, but most of the time he's going to get separation. But there's one thing. I had him in the 5th round of my mock draft. That was before. You got to hope he falls to the 4th round because he's jumping and jumping and jumping up draft boards. Phil Simms. I mean, he's a quarterback, but he kind of knows wide receivers. He had him as wide receiver too. So you have to hope he drops to the 4th round because if you take a look at the Titans draft picks, 1, 2, 4. You don't have a 3rd round pick. You can't use that draft pick in the 3rd round, which is primarily where he's going to go. So you have to hope and pray that he falls to the 4th round for the Titans to draft him. Because honestly, I don't think he's worth a round 2, pick 35. I don't think he's worth that. But round 3, round 4, once you get into those rounds, that is your ideal spot of drafting Kyle Williams. So I'm going to ask you guys, do you want to draft Kyle Williams? You want the Titans to get their slot wide receiver. Type D for draft, type P for pass. I had him in my mock draft, so you know what I'm going with. I'm going with D for draft over P for pass. Let me see it in the comments. It's going to be the pinned comment of today's video. Now coming up, we talked about Kyle Williams, but we're also going to talk about some other wide receiver draft prospects that I love and I think could be a huge get for the Titans at either even the 2nd round, 4th round, later rounds. We're going to talk all about it, but first, I got to tell you about our sponsor of today's show, Game Time. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. I've been using Game Time even before I became a Chat Sports employee. It's one of the best apps for tickets. Now, the NHL season is about to end, but you can still go to a ton of Nashville Predators games. You got 5 left. And then it's also soccer season. Nashville SC. It's easy. Use the Game Time app. Download it. You can get $20 off using the promo code CHATSPORTS. One thing I really like about Game Time is their all-in pricing option. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, they offer the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. What time is it? Game time. Okay, so the first wide receiver I'm a fan of, and he's kind of dropping a little bit on draft boards. I was looking at the top wide receivers of the 2025 NFL draft, and he is gone down. I thought this is going to be a 2nd-day pick, but it's Savion Williams out of TCU. And I talked about a slot guy. This is a guy that's going to be another deep threat. 6'3", he's basically 6'4", 222 pounds. And 2024, 60 catches, 611 yards. But there's one big when you look at the stats. Kyle Williams had 5. Savion Williams had 8 drops. This is a guy, if you're going to take him with your draft pick, you got to place him on one side of the field, and you have Calvin Ridley on the other side. 611, 12 games played, 60 receptions. You don't need him to be your number 1 guy, so he can clearly be your number 2 wide receiver. Now we have second. Coming out of Stanford, Alec Ayamaner. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But coming out of Stanford, he is another one that is jumping off draft boards, and it's one of the most underrated picks, underrated wide receivers in this draft. 6'1", 206 yards, 63 receptions on the year, 831. His career stats, he's only played 2 years. But if you look at 2023, I mean, look at that difference. He had 106 targets and only 62 receptions. He did have 1,000 yards, but it's a major drop-off. 16.5 yards per catch, going to 11, 6 touchdowns in each, 6 drops. I think he can be a solid NFL wide receiver with a good quarterback around him, and if you get Cam Ward, that could be one. And then my last one, I'm just throwing this on there. I mean, I still think he's a good wide receiver, and it's Xavier Restrepo. Obviously, you get Cam Ward's favorite target, one of his favorite targets, and he had a great 2024, basically 70 catches, 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns. This was Cam Ward's guy, but He did not work out at the NFL Combine, and then at Miami Pro Day, which I will say, every single one of Tennessee Titans organization, every single person was there. And Xavier Restrepo did not have a great pro day. I mean, look at those 40 times. It's terrible. 20-yard split, terrible. Very, very, very poor. He's going to be your slot guy. I still think he can be great. I mean, if you look at his last 2 years, it didn't matter if it was 2024 with TVD 2023. He still put up 1,000 yards, receptions, 85 catches. I could see him being that type of Julian Edelman type wide receiver, but I don't want to say that his pro day is just ruined him, but it's definitely dropped him down a little bit, so maybe you can get him in the later rounds. So those are my 3 guys, Savion Williams, Alec Manor, and Xavier Restrepo. Those are 3 guys that I think could be later rounds in the NFL draft for the Titans. So I want to have you guys. Do you guys have a specific wide receiver that you want to draft for the Titans? It could be anybody. We're not going to go over Tedero McMillan because he's going to go in the first round. We're not going to talk about Golden because he's going to go in the first round probably. But just as later rounds, which is some underrated receiver that you want the Titans to draft? Let me know it down in the comments section. That's all we have for today on Titans Today. Don't forget to hit that big red sub button. The draft is coming up, and we're going to have coverage for you for all the way through the NFL draft. YouTube.com/Titans Today. I'm Brett Alper, and as always, tighten up.